let's start with what is SQL and database. Here, SQL is a structured query language that is used to perform the operations on the record stored in the database, right? Such as updating records, deleting records, creating and modifying table, views, etc. SQL is a query language. It is not a database. To perform the SQL query, you need to install any database. For example, Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, GB2, etc. It is basically designed or it basically manage the data on a relational database management system. We'll further come to know about what is RDBMS, means Relational Database Management System, right? So let's see next what SQL does. With SQL, we can do many operations, many functionalities in a database. It basically uh, manage whole database, perform the operations on it as if we want to we want to fetch the information of particular record or anything, then we can just write some query and can fetch the data. It is just like a English statement. We'll further come to know about it. So now let's see. With SQL, you can access the data from relational database management system. It allows the users to describe the data. It allow the users to access the data, or we can do many operations with it. It allow users to create and drop database. It allow users to create views, stored, procedure, function in a database. It allow users to set the permission on tables. It describes data. It defines the data in. Now let's move on to the next. What is RDBMS? We are basically saying that SQL works on RDBMS. It manage RDBMS. It do the several operations on RDBMS. Now let's come to know what is actually RDBMS. RDBMS, that is Relational Database Management System. That is the full form of it. It is basically the basis for SQL and for all modern databases system, as mostly students use different databases. Some use MS SQL, some use IBM DB2, some use Oracle, some use MySQL. But the basis for all these modern databases is relational databases. We studied in DBMS relational model. It also based on the RDBMS relational model that was introduced by a scientific. I hope you have studied about the relational model, that what is this and how it is based on the relational database management system. Now, as we do several operations in database, so it will be done in the form of tables, rows, columns. Now we have just said about it manage the operations, manipulates data, access the records. Now let's know what is record actually, what is field, column, row, tuple, because in databases, data actually manage or it is actually represented in the form of rows, tables, and columns, right? So as it is written here, you can see this the RDBMS is stored in database objects are called tables, means the data जो data हमारा RDBMS में store होता है वो means जो data हमारा in RDBMS is stored in database objects, that is called table. मतलब जो हमारा data RDBMS में store हो रहा है वो टेबल्स में स्टोर होता है, ठीक है। एंड टेबल इज अ कलेक्शन ऑफ द रिलेटेड डेटा एंट्री एंड इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ कॉलम्स एंड रोज. As we can study, the data in RDBMS is stored in database object called table. Remember, a table is the most common and the simplest form of the data storage in a relational database. ये एक बहुत कॉमन और सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्म होती है डेटा स्टोरेज की डेटाबेस में. नाउ लेट्स सी व्हाट इज फील्ड or column. We can say field or column. Every table is broken into a smaller entities that is called field. Means कोई भी टेबल होगी, जैसे हम स्टूडेंट की टेबल बनाई तो उसमें स्टूडेंट की मल्टीपल एंट्रीज होंगी. स्टूडेंट की आईडी होगी, उसकी एज होगा, उसका एड्रेस होगा, उसका सैलरी होगा, उसका नेम होगा. तो दीज ऑल आर कॉल्ड एज फील्ड्स. Like there is one example is given, customer table that consists of ID, name, age, address, and salary field. Now, a column is a vertical entity in a table. We all know that in a table, vertical representation is done, that is called as column, and our horizontal representation that is done, which is called as a row. So, a vertical entity in a table that contains all information associated with a specific field in the table, right? Means we can see here, ये हमने यहाँ पे एक टेबल बनाई, यहाँ पे हमने हमारे ये वर्टिकल हमने रिप्रेजेंटेशन की, ठीक है. सो यहाँ पे ये जो है हमारे, ये हमारे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट फील्ड हैं. ये हमारा पूरा एक फील्ड हो गया, ये हमारा पूरा एक फील्ड है, ये हमारा पूरा एक फील्ड है. और एक ये पर्टिकुलर जो कॉलम है हमारा, इसे हम बोलते हैं फील्ड. इसे हम बोलेंगे, वी कैन से इट आइदर अ फील्ड, एक पर्टिकुलर फील्ड, और वी कैन से आइदर अ कॉलम. ओके. जब भी टेबल वर्टिकली डिवाइडेड हो, जब भी कोई टेबल ऐसे वर्टिकली डिवाइड हो रही है, तो उस टेबल का एक पर्टिकुलर जो वर्टिकल पार्ट होता है उसे हम फील्ड या फिर कॉलम बोलते हैं, राइट. नाउ सी व्हाट इज रिकॉर्ड. रो और टपल, हम रिकॉर्ड बोल सकते हैं, रो बोल सकते हैं, टपल बोल सकते हैं. जो रिकॉर्ड होता है दैट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड अ रो ऑफ डेटा. मीन्स जो रिकॉर्ड है वो तो पूरी टेबल का है, तो मीन्स वो रो और कॉलम दोनों फॉर्म में होगा. इज ईच इंडिविजुअली एंट्री दैट एग्जिस्ट इन table, right? I hope you understand it very well. Now let's move on to the database advantages. एक्चुअली में डेटाबेस की एडवांटेजेस क्या हैं, हम डेटाबेस क्यों यूज़ कर रहे हैं. हमें डेटाबेस को मैनेज करने के लिए, उसमें डेटा को मैनेज करने के लिए, ऑपरेशंस परफॉर्म करने के लिए डेटा पर हमें SQL की ज़रूरत क्यों पड़ रही है. सो नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू दिस advantages of database, right. Now, uh, it reduces the data redundancy. Means if we manage one database of any data, then it will reduce the redundancy. Means as we know that nowadays in universe data is in a big amount, and it sometimes become a difficulty to manage the data. So we use databases. So data redundant, so that the as maximum can a data redundancy will be minimized to just to save the space and time, and it reduces updating errors and increase the consistency. Means databases जो होते हैं हमारे, कोई भी अगर एरर हमारा डेटा में आ रहा है या कुछ भी हो रहा है, तो वो उसे अपडेट कर देते हैं और उसकी कंसिस्टेंसी को बनाए रहते हैं. मीन्स उन एरर्स को रिमूव कर देते हैं. ग्रेटर डेटा इंटीग्रिटी एंड इंडिपेंडेंस फ्रॉम एप्लीकेशन प्रोग्राम्स. मीन्स डेटा इंटीग्रिटी अच्छी होती है और वो इंडिपेंडेंट होता है किसी भी एप्लीकेशन प्रोग्राम से. Now, it improved data access to users through use of host and query language. डेटाबेस को मैनेज करने से क्या होता है कि जो डेटा है वो यूज़र बहुत इजीली एक्सेस कर सकता है थ्रू द यूज ऑफ होस्ट और क्वेरी लैंग्वेज. सी है, डेटा यूजर जो एक्सेस कर सकता है वो होस्ट या क्वेरी लैंग्वेज दैट वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी अबाउट, as I have given the little introduction about it, that is SQL, that will be that we will discuss. Now, it improves the data security. If we'll make our database, then it will definitely be secure. There will not be any fear of losing the data. It will be secure in a database. It reduces the data entry, storage, and retrieval cost, and facilitate the development of a new application program. As the statement is saying, I hope you understand it very well, and there is no need any further explanation about it. Now, let's move databases disadvantages. As all we know, the thing that come with advantages also have the disadvantages with it. Now let's see the disadvantages of it. Databases disadvantages. Database systems are complex, difficult, and time consuming to design. As it's obvious, if we are designing any database that will contain a large data, then it will be difficult and complex and also time consuming to design it. But it is secure to use it. The data stored in any database will not be lost anywhere if it is secure and trustworthy. Substantial hardware or software startup cost. Damage to database affects virtually all application programs. As we know, if we take the database of our system, if it is damaged somehow, then it will affect our application program also, because the data stored in it will not work properly and the application programs will not track. Extensive conversion cost. In moving from a file-based system to a database system, an initial training required for all programmers and users. Yes, to manage the data, to work on the data, initial trainings are required for all the programmers and the users. Now let's move on to the next. Get in touch with the database. Right. Now let's see how to get touch in database. It is a database server, and these are the developer machines that is attached with it, right? Now, as we all know, there is a one database server and different machines are attached to it. Okay, now let's move to the next. Get in touch with the database. Here is a brief description about it. Let's move on to this and study what is it actually. Okay, get in touch. It means developers machine client connects to the server using SSMS. Means developer machine means client connects to the SQL server और वो database में client और server होते हैं. Client, developer machine and SQL server जो client को server से connect करे. Like SSMS means SQL Server Management Studio is a client tool, not the server by itself. तो जो हमारा SSQL वो हमारा client tool होता है जो हमारा client यूज करता है database के लिए. ये हमारा server tool नहीं होता है. That is an important point. Okay, now here the database server typically contains all the table and the data that any SQL Server Management object like trigger, tables, procedure, etc. All the data will get stored on the database server. And to connect to that database, server client use SSMS and other tools like that. If the client wants to connect to the database server, then developers have to specify the information regarding the particular database server, like server name, user ID, period. Means अगर किसी को क्लाइंट को डेटाबेस सर्वर से कनेक्ट करना है तो डेवलपर को हैव टू स्पेसिफाई द इंफॉर्मेशन रिगार्डिंग द पर्टिकुलर डेटाबेस सर्वर. उसे पर्टिकुलर डेटाबेस सर्वर के रिगार्डिंग इंफॉर्मेशन स्पेसिफाई करनी पड़ेगी, लाइक सर्वर का नेम, server key, user ID, and password. And in this point, that was given that database server typically contains all the tables and data that any SQL Server Management object like trigger, table, procedures, etc. All the data will get stored on the database server. And to connect to the database server, client use SSMS and other tools like mean क्लाइंट को अगर डेटाबेस सर्वर से कनेक्ट करना है तो वो SSMS टूल का यूज करता है. SSMS tool means SQL Server Management Studio. Move to the next. Now let's see how we create, develop, alternate, and drop our database. Actually, now we'll study about how to actually create the database. There are now the SQL queries or the commands will start. A SQL Server database can be created, altered, and dropped graphically using SQL Server Management Studio or using a query. Means SQL Server can be done in two ways. Either you can use SSMS SQL Server Management Studio or you can use a query. Now we'll first study using a query. To create the database using a query, we will study about second point. Now first, how to create our database. There is a query for it. Note, there is important note, whether you create a database graphically using the designer or using a query, the following two files get generated while using the database. These two files are necessarily generated: MDMF file and LDF. MDF file, data file that contains the actual data of the database, and .ldf file, transaction log file, used to recover the data. If somehow the data is lost, then this file is used to recover the data. MDF, where the actual data is stored, in LDF, which is used for the recovery process. Now let's see further. Now let's see how to alter the data and how it is used. To alter a database, once it is created, alter database name, modify name database is used. Now I think I need to just revise this once again. It is given this query that create database name, means you will write on command create database and database name, means in this field you can write any of the name by which you want to create your database, right? Now if we have created database and now we want to alter it, we want to do some changes in it, so we will use the command alter, right? That is to alter a database. So for this we will use alter database का नेम, जिस डेटाबेस नेम से हमने पहले बनाया था, देन मॉडिफाई नेम, और जो हम न्यू डेटाबेस, मान लो ने पहले ए नाम से डेटाबेस बनाया, अब आपको बी नाम से डेटाबेस चाहिए, तो हमारे यहाँ आ जाएगा अल्टर डेटाबेस, ए नाम से हमने बनाया था तो ए मॉडिफाई नेम, और यहाँ पे आ जाएगा बी, right? Alternatively, you can also use system stored procedure, means you can also use this query, but I think this one is more efficient form. Here we will use execute sp rename db, यहाँ पे आ जाएगा old database name means a comma and then new database name b. Now if we want to delete or drop a database, then we will use this command drop database that you want to drop. If you want to drop b, because we have changed the database a name with b and we want to draw this, now we will write in place of this, we will write b. Okay, so there is alter database, how if you want to change the name of the database, and a drop database. I hope you understand about it. Now let's move. Now I hope till now you understand very well what is relational database management system, what is SQL, and how these SQL queries work. We have just studied about how to create database, how to alter database, and how to drop database. I hope you all like this video, and if you understand it and if you get something useful from this, then please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.